Marcus Ealy here for Status Coup, and I'm here with Jean and Ella. And can y'all tell me a little bit about what brought y'all out to see Elizabeth Warren today?
Well, I've admired her even before she was in the Senate, when she was working with the bank bailout stuff, and then I was so excited when she got in the Senate, and I love her energy. I love all of her plans, so I'm really hoping that she could make it. And I've committed to caucus with for her. But having said that, I'm going to support any Democrat that gets the nomination.
Same thing mostly as my mom. I love all of her policies. I think she's really passionate about what she does. I just think she's like a great candidate. Yeah.
Um, so on Medicare for All, how do you guys feel about her plans of getting to Medicare for All? Because recently she was asked, I believe it was earlier today, she was asked about how she's going to get there, and she said initially she's going to do the public option, and then after the public option in year three, she'll eventually try to get full on Medicare for All.
I think that's realistic. I mean, I'm for Medicare at all, but I also know how Congress works, and so I understand that it's not going to happen overnight. I just appreciate that she's aspiring to that.
As long as we're moving forward, I think it's a good thing.
All right. So what would you say to folks that are kind of upset about Warren because her numbers have dropped since she's like hard since she's triangulated on Medicare for All and tried to appease the establishment, and it seems to be like a litmus test this time. And folks are even upset at what she said earlier, saying that hey, if you're trying in year three, you're probably more likely than not going to have both houses of Congress. You're more likely than not. You're going to be an election year, and then you will have already had to fight for the public option. So why not just go for Medicare for all in the first place? What do you think about that?
I agree with her. I mean, I think you have to shoot for the stars. I mean, I support.
Is that shooting for the stars in
Oh, year
nine?
three. No,
Yeah.
no, I think it has to be incremental. I think that's just realistic. I'm a realist, so I mean, I think it's realistic that she's going to have to do it in increments because she's going to, let's face it, she's going to have to fight the Republicans in Congress. She's going to have to, even if Democrats have the majority in either house, they're still going to get resistance. So I think it has to be incremental.
What do you say to folks that are like the very far left that are like sick and tired of hearing we have to fight with the Republicans as an excuse all of the time?
Yeah, I get it, but we want change comes slowly, and I just think that it's it's realistic. You have to be a realist. I'm a realist, so I just think it's going to be have to be incremental.
You just think it's gonna have to be slow
Yeah,
and incremental
I
and
think it's the only way to go because look at Obama fought so hard. Look at Hillary Clinton fought so hard and got nothing. The
yeah.
Clintons did, and then it took Obama all this effort, and we got Obamacare, which they even said is like a starter home. So I just think that's just realistic, and I'm not turned off by that at all.
So it's just for you in particular, it's realistic. There's nothing. Okay, well, I have to push back because like what I do, we do a different brand of journalism online, so I have to push back a little bit, but respectfully, of course. The history shows that anytime we've gotten real change, it's usually been when we threaten the established order. You talk about the New Deal, and we talk about getting Social Security and all those plans that FDR got. There were millions of people in the streets all of the time, every day, and FDR basically went to the wealthy class and said, "Look, the socialists and communists told me that we can have half or we can have nothing. So I suggest you keep them happy." And what do you think about folks that are saying, "Hey, we're that FDR style of left now"?
I just wish it could happen. I mean, I just don't see people taking to the streets and doing all that stuff. And also, it's just different times. I mean, there's just so much gridlock now. There's so much like uh, uh, animosity between the Democrats and the Republicans in Washington right now. I mean, look at Mitch McConnell won't even like consider calling witnesses, and I just think it's a different time, and everybody is so dug in.
As a person of color, because like they say objectivity in journalism, but I can't like I can't make myself white and see things differently. That's not how it works. So in terms of the Republican Party, they've moved so far to the right that like you can't be you can't be a Republican and not be a racist, or at least a racist enabler with white privilege, just over your white privilege sunglasses on, helping your eyes. Like you just can't. So the idea is that those people are just gone. They're gone. You're not going to save them, but at the same time, there's 30% of the country supporting them. However, there's a plurality of the country that does not vote, and getting those folks involved in the process and making those folks believe is definitely the idea and the way to go forward with that. So what
Yeah, I totally agree with that. We got to get all the people out that don't vote, that or voted against their own interests in the last election.
well, the funny thing is, especially in Wisconsin, they did polling after the fact. In Milwaukee specifically, Milwaukee is, contrary to popular opinion, it's a very black city. And a lot of the black voters there said that they didn't vote because, not because of voter suppression, but because they felt like there was going to be nothing for them. Period. Like Hillary, Trump, whatever, racist and more racist. That's what they felt. Regardless of whether they were right or not, there were people that felt that way. And then on top of that, we also have the voter suppression with Brian Kemp and Stacey Abrams really should be the governor of Georgia if it wasn't for that. So like, these things happen and these things exist, and I agree with you. Like, and that's the crazy thing, the rift between Warren and Sanders supporters. I don't understand. I get it, but I don't get it, because it's like we all want the same thing. Like everybody clearly wants the same thing more often than not. But then when it comes down to it, it's just like the Sanders supporters are like, no, we're not taking no for an answer anymore.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, yeah, that concerns me.
That concerns you?
Well,
Folks
I
not
don't.
taking no for an answer.
Well, what I'm concerned about is if there's part of the Democratic part, if whoever the nominee is, I want everybody to get behind. I don't. I know a lot of Bernie people were mad at Hillary or didn't like Hillary, so they sat out. Like you're saying, I want even if
And just to be fair, because that talking point is out there a lot. Twice as many people that sat out for Hillary, that were Hillary supporters in 2008 against Obama than did Sanders supporters. So like the Hillary people in 2008, the Pumas, Party Unity, my A word, those people sat out twice as many of them sat out as Bernie Sanders supporters sat out, and on top of that, Bernie went to more events for than anybody. But please continue. I just every time I have to point that.
no, that's all I want to say. No, that's all I want to say.